Hello and welcome to another edition live in Port-au-Prince, Haiti of the Strength Team podcast. This is actually podcast 2, and we're excited. We are standing right in Port-au-Prince. Actually, Andy, tell them about what this is.
We're right in front of the huge cathedral. Many of you in the States have seen pictures of this great cathedral. It's a Catholic church that have been here, the biggest Catholic church in Port-au-Prince, that when the earthquake hit, this place was absolutely demolished. There's many lives that were lost in this area, and it's just very humbling to be here to see this amazing sight.
You know, and the whole thing about it, a lot of times people, when we talk about God, and we've been witnessing a lot on the streets, you're going to see some of this live footage. And when you talk about God and you think about religion, people think of church buildings.
That's right.
And this church building was 100 years old, and through the hurricane, it was
Earthquake.
Excuse me. They had a hurricane a couple years before that, but the building was ruined, was destroyed. But here's the thing about it. You got to know this, is that God doesn't live in buildings made with hands,
That's right, Mike.
but He lives in the hearts of men and women, boys and girls.
Right.
And so when you know Christ in your heart in a relationship, and that's what we're sharing with these people, because it's really hard for some of the people that we're talking to in the outlying areas we're going to be witnessing to, them to understand. They think that's where God lives, but God lives in the hearts of men and women and boys and girls. And one of the things that when I first came up, I thought about the scripture where it talked about in Matthew 7:24, where it says, you know, therefore a huge earthquake happened here, and a lot of things were shaken. And it says, William, when you build your life on a solid rock, and a lot of the foundations and the materials and the concrete didn't have the rebarb, and that's why a lot of these buildings came down. And so you got to have a foundation in your life, and putting Christ at the center foundation of your life is probably one of the most important things in the world to do. And so Matthew 7:24 says this, therefore anyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who builds his life on the rock.
Yeah.
It talked about the rains came, the winds blew, they beat against the house, yet the house did not fall because the foundation was built upon the rock. So you see this whole church building, huge, been here for 100 years, and the whole thing was shaken, it was torn down. But then it goes on to say that everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice and doesn't put them into practice in 26 is like a foolish man who builds his house on sand.
Yeah.
Rains came, winds blew, they beat against the house, his house fell, and its crash was great. Now you see these people, not just the buildings, but you see a lot of people where there's been a lot of shaking going on. And I tell you something, the kindest people I've ever met in my life, the children,
That's right.
is I have a love in my heart for the Haitian people more than ever before, just after meeting them.
Even just last night, you know, during our program, they had worship, and to see the Haitian people, they love God so much, and they've literally been through hell on earth here in the last few years, living down here, poverty-stricken, the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, something that we can't even imagine in the United States of America. But their passion for God is so intense, and it's rubbed off on all of us this week and really touched us to be so grateful for what we have, and that it doesn't matter in the end. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what's happened to us. It doesn't matter what we're going through. What matters is Jesus is on the throne. He loves us. He's got a plan for us. He's going to take care of us. We're going to go through tough times, but He's always there to take care of us.
Actually, and we know for a fact, because our trust is in the Lord. Romans 8:28, God causes all things to work together for good if we love Him, William, and called according to His purpose. So how do you feel? First mission trip, what's this been to you? Been good?
I mean, it's been life-changing for me. I have my 8th child to be born in July. And I can just feel the pain that these people are going through. I couldn't imagine my kids walking around here going through this. When you see the kids, the first thing that pops into your head is your own family, your own children. But I know by far the greatest thing we can do, the greatest gift we can possibly give them, more than any money, more than any dollar can spend, is the Lord, the gospel of Jesus Christ. And that's what we're here for, and we're blessed to be here to do it.
And Zeb, this is your first trip. Everybody, out of all the athletes we introduced, you know, William, first round draft pick, Andy, strongman. Zeb gets the biggest hand clap because he's the human giant.
He's twice as big.
He's 3 times the size of a Haitian. And so, what do you know, Zeb, have you enjoyed it?
This has been great. You know, it took me a while to figure out if I wanted to come, and I'm so glad I did. It's really changed my perspective, my outlook on what we have in America. You know, we complain about a lot of things we don't have. We need another car, we need a bigger house, we need a lot of things. You know, when you come down here and some of these people are living in tarps and they're perfectly happy, they're worshiping God, there's no air conditioning in the church. I mean, it's awesome to see.
Okay, so this is going to be a podcast, but part of what we're doing also is we're going to go doing street witnessing, which is going to be very interesting. We're going to be mic'd up live, and so I know you're going to watch this. We want to enjoy it to be part of this documentary video. Of course, this is going to be a podcast, but we'll see you in a couple minutes here with more action of the Strength Team. And for those people who are ending the podcast, thank you for tuning in to another edition of Mike Hagan of the Strength Team podcast.